Good evening, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show that's made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined by my partners in crime. What's going on, J3? How you feeling this evening, my brother?
Well. Welcome back, everybody. Glad to be here. Let's get it in.
We also got my man Ed in the building. What's going on, Ed? How you feeling, my brother?
I feel sore. I'm all good. How's everybody doing tonight? That's good.
Good. And shout out to Professor J, who's in the background running the show as normal. We appreciate you, Professor J, and want everybody to know you still with us. And you never know, he might pop in, if a topic, hits his funny bone, he may pop himself in. And we also may be joined by Jay Will a little later in the show if he can get in. So this evening, we're going to talk about, got to hit the NBA playoffs. They're starting to get good. Got to recap UFC 263. Update the NHL playoffs. Boxing. I mentioned it last week. Boxing is starting to get hot. It's going to be a big summer for boxing. They're trying to catch back up with the UFC. So we talk about the upcoming fight cards this weekend and a couple of things that's going to happen. Some other topics that caught our attention. And, of course, our final post of the evening. So, as usual, we appreciate you tuning in. We want you to sit back and relax and enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. All right, fellas. When we talked last week, we were looking at the Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks, and what Brooklyn did to Milwaukee was just, they embarrassed them for 2 games. Let's be real. Game 1, Harden went down in the first minute, and everybody's like, uh-oh, and then they spanked them. And then game 2 was even worse. They made Milwaukee just look embarrassed. Well, things have changed a little bit in that series. Let's hold on a little bit. Milwaukee went home and decided, you know what, they wasn't going to just lay down.
Can I interject real quick? So is it me, or does it seem like, I don't know, does it seem like the refs just ain't calling it on both ends of the court? Because I'm telling you, I truly believe they're not calling fouls on the Nets like they should be. I mean, on the Bucks like they should be. Because Kevin Durant was getting beat up, and he wasn't getting no calls. None.
But if you're calling it the same on both ends, because let's be real, the Nets were getting physical with teams as well. Not KD, but all those others that running around, they've been bumping people, Middleton, Giannis, and all that. So if they want to call it tight, then they got to call it tight on both ways. Or would you rather them let them play?
Let them play, because it's ridiculous. I'm telling you. I just think they didn't want to see a blowout. They wanted to see a 7-game series. So they just, tilted the edge just a little bit so that the Bucks can get their confidence up, because they definitely got their confidence up. And PJ Tucker, this dude trying to daggone punk KD, and I don't like
it. They boys. That's the funny part about it. They were roommates in Texas. So he knows Kevin better than almost anybody. And they made a concerted effort to get up in KD and Kyrie, because they did the same thing to Kyrie. People just ain't talking about it. They got real physical with Kyrie starting in game 3 and continued it in game 4. So they made a strategical move to change up the flow and just not let the Nets run around. If you let the Nets run around and be free-flowing, they're going to kill you.
Jay Wills, what you think about that, bro? And welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good to see everybody.
It's been so long. It's been so long. We miss you, bro.
It's been a while, and I can't say the whole time that my life is not mine. It's not mine. I thought I was in control, but I'm learning. I'm learning as I go.
Oh yeah.
PJ Tucker, though, he definitely has been playing some disruptive defense. I love a cat like PJ Tucker. It's great that he also knows about you on a personal level, KD. That also benefits us greatly. But you know your role. You don't complain about your role. You're willing to use all 6 fouls. You're actually a person that reads tape because he know what side you favor, where you like to pull up for your jumper. He's actually a statistician. He knows what he's doing when he's on the floor. That's how he's happened to master his role. And if he does a good job on KD for the rest of the series, I see a real opportunity for him with another team probably picking up a big money contract on a team, not necessarily big money, but I would definitely bring the guy in, knowing that he knows his role, he's willing to do the dirty work, and from time to time, you'll knock down the corner 3 for me. So that worked out for me. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely, 3.
You know, I watched all these game 4s, right? Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Phoenix, Denver, Philly, Atlanta, Utah, LA Clippers. And I've come to a decision where the NBA game has changed, and I don't like what I'm seeing.
It's soft. They just soft. I mean,
I don't like what I'm seeing. So before I get into that, let me go back. I agree with you 100%, J3, and I think that's what's plagued the NBA for decades now, is that the referees, not the players, dictate the tempo of the game. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And anytime I watch the NBA game, whether it's the playoffs or the regular season, but particularly the playoffs, I'm always leery as far as how the game is going to be called and whether or not we're getting a legitimate game.
Right.
And I'm not making this up. There's a history. There's a documented history of the referees having way too much control over games. But getting back to what I was saying about the games, these particular games 4s and what stuck out to me, particularly with the Utah and the Milwaukee game. So let's go back to since we're talking about the Milwaukee game first. I did not like that game at all. Yes, the Milwaukee won, although Kyrie went out with an injury. We all knew he was going to get injured at some point during these playoffs. We just didn't know when. I didn't wish that on the man. It's just that you knew at some point Kyrie was going to have some bumps and bruises, and it just so happened when he came down on Giannis's ankle or foot, and that was it. And that might spell doom if Harden can't come back to the series. But getting back to what I was observing in all these game 4s, what stuck out clear. The game is either dunk or 3-point. The mid-range games have all but evaporated, except for Phoenix. Chris Paul controlled the tempo of that particular series in that game, and I actually saw a mid-range game, But as far as getting Milwaukee, out of all their shots they took, 53% of their shots was 3-pointers. 53%. I don't want to see that. That's that's not, to me, that's okay. I can shoot a 3. Okay, you can shoot a 3. And if you look at the percentages for that game, Milwaukee didn't necessarily shoot good. I think for the game they were like a 40%, something like that, maybe a little bit above it, but it was around that. But every game, 53% of their shots they took was a 3-pointer.
Analytics.
Yeah, but don't forget though, the Claw, he gets in the mid range too. So don't sleep on Kawhi, because he'll pull up in a heartbeat. He ain't sitting behind no 3-point line. No,
but I did see Kawhi jacking up 3s. I saw people that should not be shooting 3s, Giannis shooting 3s.
Joel Embiid.
Embiid. All these big dudes are shooting 3-pointers. Like I say, I know that's the game. I know that's where we are right now. But to me, it just it diminishes the game to me. It's not an exciting game no more. And you talk about people playing defense, Tucker playing defense. Well, he might have been the only one. Because I don't see nobody. I don't see no hard fouls. I know we'll get to the Denver game in a minute as far as a flagrant what constitutes a flagrant foul or not. But it just doesn't seem like playoff basketball to me. Now I did see KD going through some things. He was getting bumped and bruised, and that would be my strategy against him too, obviously. But it's just. Yeah, I'm not impressed, and I'm not really impressed with Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee won the last two games, but
Reffing Reffing. I just call it reffing.
I'm not sold on him.
The issue is people say the NBA is soft, but when the referees allow them to be physical, then people say you ain't calling fouls. You can't have it both ways.
Agreed. Call a right damn game, and we ain't got to worry about it.
As long as they call that game the same way for both teams, I don't have a problem with whichever way they call it. If they want to be tight and you call it tight on both ends, that's fine. The players are supposed to be able to adjust. If you're going to let them be physical, that's fine. Then you got to figure out how to play through stuff.
Just do it on both ends. Just do it on both ends, and they're not doing that.
I disagree. I think they were calling it. I think they were letting it be physical on both sides because Giannis gets beat up all the time, and he doesn't get quite as many calls as people think. But because he's going to the basket and he's big, they allow people to smack on him all the time.
And he also walks a lot too, and they don't call it.
Everybody in the NBA walk. Come on, J3. Stop it.
If you're going to call the game, call the game. That's all I'm saying.
Did y'all see Seth Curry in the last game do a step back to the 3-point line and then pass the ball and then call off?
Exactly. Officiating is terrible. That's what I'm saying. Call it on both ends.
But Brooklyn is, like I said, Brooklyn is in trouble, man. If Kyrie can't come back, and if Harden, we don't know how bad Harden's hamstring is. I haven't heard a peep actually. I don't even know if he's practicing yet.
No, they say he's going to attempt to play tonight. That came out late this afternoon that he's going to give it a try and try to warm up, which I think is a bad idea. And if he's not close to 100%, he's already re-injured that thing multiple times this season. Why would you bring him back? If he's going to try to come back and save the series, he might as well rest another 2 days.
Yeah.
And try to come back game 6, then try to come back tonight.
I agree.
If Kyrie ain't coming back this series, if y'all saw the way his whole ankle laid on the side on the court after stepping on Giannis' foot, unless he's a magic healer, which we have never heard Kyrie. And remember, Kyrie had ankle problems previous.
Right.
I can't see him getting back to this series. So unless Harden, in my opinion, can get back and be 80% of what he was or better, I think Milwaukee wins this. Which is the whole theme of this NBA playoffs. It's more like NFL, where it's the true NFL is always survival of the fittest. Whichever team generally comes in the healthiest at the playoffs and makes it through to the Super Bowl tends to win. It seems to be this way this year. The NBA is survival of the fittest because we're going to move on to the next series, talk about the 76ers against the Hawks.
Man.
The Sixers were blowing Atlanta off the court. In the second quarter. And then your boy Joel tweaked that knee, went into the back. I was like, uh-oh.
Here's Philly's problem. As far as my little untrained eye could tell. And I'm a big supporter of Ben Simmons. I've been screaming that for years.
I don't know why.
But Ben Simmons might be an all defensive player. He might be, been a candidate for all defensive player of the year this year, but he's a liability.
Yep.
Because when Joel Embiid, he's their clear number one. And personally, I don't think he's in shape, but again, he's their clear number one. I know he's dealing with a knee injury right now. Seth Curry cannot be your number 2 option. Nor can Tobias
Harris. Tobias Harris is supposed to be the number 2.
Tobias is a number 3 to 4 at best.
He played golf.
If he's your number 2 option on the team, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, because
Ben Simmons doesn't even attempt to shoot. If he's not driving to the hole or making a play in the paint as far as going towards the basket, they don't even guard him.
You know who he reminds me of? When Rondo first came in the league, he didn't shoot either. All he did was distribute the ball. Nobody really played defense on him because you knew he wasn't going to be no threat. And that's what he reminds me of.
The issue is, like last night's game, he wasn't even distributing the ball in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like standing in the corner,
Yeah.
like he was afraid to shoot and get involved.
Looking like a
And in the previous game, in game 3, Doc went to him at halftime and said, look, I need you to get aggressive on offensive end. And he scored like 12 points in the second half of game 3. And then all of a sudden, he just, hey, I almost got a triple-double. I did my job. I roughed up Trey. You talking about roughing somebody up.
Yep.
Simmons and Thibault are beating Trae Young up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but see, the problem is Trae Young, he's surrounded with better. Now, it might not be known talent, but I think that Trae Young's talent level, as far as Atlanta's team, like they just have better players than Philly.
Is it that, or do they just have more of a confidence in their game type of atmosphere? Because, I mean, you got some of them players that he's playing with. I mean, at best, they're average, above average. So, I mean, I just think that their confidence level is where it needs to be for them to be productive.
Well,
What
you
you
got
think,
an
Jay Wells?
all-star, you got an all-star caliber shooter in Trae Young, but to Ed's point, Atlanta offense is allowed to flow because everybody would at least take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big thing. In the playoffs, everything slows down. When Ben Simmons is not going to, you already know he's not going to shoot.
Yep.
So you already forced to play help defense. I might as well not pick you up after half court unless I see you drive into the lane and poster somebody. So I'll rather sag back and look for Tobias Harris because he's your number 2. And where's Seth Curry? I'd rather drop back on defense and completely interrupt the flow of offense that you've been able to benefit from throughout the entire regular season. But now the pressure's on. They're focusing in on you.
Mm-hmm.
And like we've always said, man, I love Ben Simmons. He's a great defensive player. He has a lot of energy. He plays with a lot of spunk. But when it comes down to it, especially with the refs, like you all say, not calling the game the way it's supposed to, like my man J3 says, if they're not going to call the foul, that means you got to hit the shot. That's what they're not calling fouls for, so scoring can increase. Mm-hmm. So Ben Simmons is not even playing into the way the team should play or the way the NBA actually wants the game to be viewed. I've never seen a guy completely ice cold from the 3-point line, the foul line, 12 foot, 8 foot. It's unreal. And I'm not so I don't understand why coach hasn't been spazzing and getting on this man about this, knowing that I'm going to need you to take a shot just to make them play honest and open up everything for us on the offensive end. It blows my mind.
But they have been spazzing. I think what Doc is trying to do is Doc is trying to take pressure off of them by saying, Ben, just play your game. Run the team, distribute the ball. If you have a layup, take a layup. If you want to drive. But other than that, all you got to do is be you. Don't worry about scoring. We let the big fella score. We got Curry. We got scores. You don't have to be a scorer on this team. Now, because Embiid's knee, and all y'all said that Embiid wasn't going to make it through the series. Everybody said that but me. I thought he was going to tough it out. He's got to score 20 points plus now. He's got to be aggressive, which means he's got to be willing to go to the foul line and shoot 25% or less because they're going to hack him every time he go to put pressure on Atlanta. Because if he doesn't do that, Trae Young might be the smartest third-year player in the NBA this year. Because his adjustment that he made from game 3 to game 4, when they were attacking and harassing him, the first half, he tried a few shots and it wasn't off. Did y'all notice Trae Young just started running the show and he had like 12, 13 assists in the first half? He got everybody else going.
Right.
And then he got himself going in the second half just enough. He's not scoring 30, but I can get you in the 20s. I'm going to get my free throws. I'm going to get 8 to 12 free throws. So that's going to give me 8 to 10 points there. I can score another 10 points on a couple of baskets. I still get 20. But he ended up with, 17 assists?
But that's the difference between him and Ben. That's what we're saying. He will shoot if he has to or if he wants to. Ben Simmons ain't shooting.
No, and like I said, if you look at Philly's team, and a shout out to Dwight Howard, because even though Dwight can't score like Joe Embiid, actually, I think he actually played a good game for it. And he actually had some hustle points for what he does, rebounds, plays a little D, But anyway, if you look at Philly, they don't have once it was like clear once Embiid left, who was going to hit the shot? Like I said, Curry, bless him, he does start, but Curry is a bench. He should be a number 1 or 2 off the bench. He should not be your starting shooting guard. It shouldn't be. But he can shoot. I mean, no one else on the team really can shoot. I mean, think about it. I can't name another shooter on Philly's team but him.
Confident. I mean, they brought in the dude off the bench and had him act like he was Lou Will. He was even bringing the ball up, shooting every time. Oh, I can't think of his name right now, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
I did see Lou Will in Atlanta.
Come on, Sakem? Is his name Sakem?
No. Mm-hmm. I can't think of his name, but he scored like 8 points in a row, like late third, early fourth, and they was trying to make him the go-to player on offense. Shake Milton. Appreciate that, Professor. Yeah, because I was like, when he become Lou? Instant offense off the bench. But yeah, they got problems. They're gonna have to get in the Ben's head, and it's a mental thing with Ben. Ben can shoot. He's not a great shooter, but I don't know if it's because of the way he was brought up in the Australian Basketball League, because he was a baby when he started playing pro over there, and they used to get on him about shooting, that he's just mentally, he's not, hey, I don't need to shoot to contribute to the game.
No confidence, man. He don't have no confidence in this shot.
Before we move on, y'all still taking the Hawks in 5 or 6? Well, it's got to be 6 now. Yeah, y'all, 3 of y'all still got. Jay Wills wasn't with us last week. J3, Ed, and the Professor Jay Wills all said the Hawks in 6 or 7. They all said Philly was going to lose this series because they said Embiid wasn't going to make it through.
I'm going to take the Philly because Philly should do it. They should. But Atlanta, it looked like Trey's up for the task at hand. I like his attitude. It seemed like nothing bothers him. You can say whatever. You could do whatever. You could even spit on the man. The man not even going to overreact. So for the confidence alone, I'm going to take Atlanta.
I hear you.
But they shouldn't. They shouldn't, though. Philly should be running away with this. They should.
Like I said last week, Atlanta win this series. I know Doc just got there. Doc might lose his job. Atlanta win this series. Doc might lose his job.
Man, I don't see that happening.
You gotta give him at least another year and some more time.
Right. And you took him to the playoffs. Come on, man.
They got to the playoffs the previous years. They trying to win the championship. Playoffs. They ain't worried about no playoffs. They trying to win the championship. Come on.
I think they're gonna give him another chance. He can't. They one and done. You can't fire him after 1 year.
Okay. Let's look at the Western Conference, and we got to shout out CP3.
Yes.
They have won 6 games in a row. That shoulder healed a little bit, and it looks like it's getting healthier and healthier each game. He is doing his thing. And I mean, Phoenix is the healthiest team in the playoffs right now. They're playing the best team ball of anybody. And what Chris Paul did in game 4, he knew that his young fellas were a little tight, so he took over in game 37 and let everybody know, hey, don't forget, I can still drop 40 if I need to. I just don't feel I have to. So shout out to CP3 and the Phoenix Suns.
Well, the referees actually helped Phoenix win this particular game by calling that horrendous. I mean, horrendous flagrant 2. What was it? Flagrant 1.
Flagrant 2 is what they did
on the Joker.
Yep.
How do you kick out the MVP of the league for a graze. It wasn't even a full. He didn't slap him in his head. It was a. Did you? I'm talking about the foul.
He hit him with the crux of his arm as he was coming down.
Right. That was not, to me, that was not intentional. It wasn't anything.
Oh, it was intentional. He meant to foul him.
But he meant to foul him. It was just a regular foul. It was just a nice, hard playoff foul.
Was it a hard foul, or do you think he just gave up and wanted to get out the game because he knew it wasn't?
I don't think he gave up, but I will say this about Denver. With Jamal Murray off that team, I don't care if they have, Michael Porter Jr., Barton, whatever, who all these other guys. Look, without Jamal Murray, the Joker basically has to do everything. Of course, he's been doing everything all year, pretty much. But it's playoff time, and the level of competition done got cranked up. He can't do it all. He was just basically by himself. Like Austin Rivers was out of control. He was out of control.
He wasn't even in the league 2 months ago.
Well, still, he got some pedigree. He got a little pedigree to him.
But he shouldn't be playing major minutes in the playoffs.
Well, his brother-in-law playing in Philadelphia major minutes. It's the same,
Right.
So, I mean,
he ain't as good as his brother-in-law. Let's stop that.
Oh,
stop.
Please.
Stop.
Okay. Well, they're about this. They're equally bench player caliber. Anyway, Michael Porter. I don't know if he needs some more seasoning. He definitely needs the weight room. He has nobody to help him. He's by himself. He can't beat Phoenix by himself.
Nope.
But as the MVP, shouldn't he get at least one? Shouldn't the MVP be able to get one game?
Yeah, he was well on his way to getting one game until that referee said, we're not having that today.
Which he's supposed to as a ref.
Because it was a close game. I think it was like a 3-point game at the time.
It was a close game. It was close
and
game.
then he got out. That was a wrap. That was a wrap. It was over.
That veteran leadership that CP3 has definitely brought is going to carry them. Ooh, I'm sorry, guys. My alarm. That's the alarm for the crib because I don't
the diaper.
Life anymore. But yes, Utah Jazz, they definitely needed Jamal Murray. I think Phoenix both need CP3 like Utah needs Jamal Murray. They're the individuals that run the offense. Michael Porter Jr., he's a great shooter, but right now he's young. He's an accent piece. Jamal Murray knows how to set him up. You got guys that can gather attention from other players on the court, like Nikola Jokic, who can force a double team. And see, that frees up with Michael Porter Jr. Now that you got Michael Porter Jr. possibly getting the ball right off the point guard as soon as he comes across half court and trying to set up his own shot, that's not necessarily, I won't say his strong suit, but he may not be necessarily comfortable with that yet. So they're moving, they lost their major ball handler. But as far as the Phoenix Suns 4-0, that is the nicest offense. The flow of their offense is beautiful to me. They get to feature my man Devin Booker, who got 1,000 moves, shoots the ball pretty well. He can definitely develop his ball handling a little bit, but I'm happy that my man is finally getting the shine. Most of the NBA has been seeing this young guy grind passionately for years. It took getting that one piece to help orchestrate everything, because Devin Booker has never been a voicey individual. I never thought him to be the type that was going to go into the locker room, demand respect, and y'all need to follow me. A guy like CP3 comes along, gets everybody to tighten up. Him and Ayton, their center, has a nice they have a nice relationship. It kind of reminds me of Wall and Gortat. They just flowed well together. They knew where each other were, and they knew how to play good 1-2 basketball. So I'm expecting a lot out of the Phoenix Suns, and CP3 basically slapped the whole league back in his face. They was trying to push him out. They kept bouncing this man around. He was possibly the problem in Houston. OKC doesn't necessarily see a future with him. Shipped off here, shipped off there. You send him all the way out to the lowly Phoenix, Arizona. Next thing you know, they run in the West, baby.
He's in the perfect place, CP3 is going to be CP3. He's a grinder. Grinders and vets don't mix. That's why him and Blake Griffin always had their beefs, because he was always getting on Blake about what Blake wasn't going to do. And Blake like, look, I'm the star.
Right.
He goes to Houston and he tries to whip them into shape. They're like, hey, Harden, like, who the hell you think you are? That's my team. I asked you to come here. He's with a bunch of young players that have no playoff experience, that want to establish themselves as a legit team in the NBA, a great coach that he has an affinity for, who he played for New Orleans, and they letting him be himself and take these young boys, just like he did in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City didn't mind having them there. The problem was they wanted to rebuild, and they knew if they kept them there, they was going to the playoffs.
Wow.
So they moved him because they wanted to rebuild. So he's in a perfect spot. I don't know if it's smart for him. Have y'all heard he's going to decline his $42 million option this year in hopes of signing a 3-year, $70 to $80 million contract? Yo, CP3, if you keep balling the way you balling, take that 42. You get another 2 years and $30 million after that. I'm just saying.
He probably looking for some security. He's wondering why a guy of his caliber has kind of been bounced around the way he has. And very similar to LeBron, he's getting towards the end of his career. He's living out on the West Coast, looking at the second phase of his life. If I can get established somewhere, still pump out these State Farm commercials that happen to show every other commercial break. I mean,
well, CP, there's rumblings that he's not the easiest guy to get along with.
Of course.
So maybe rumblings, true story. He'll tell you that.
So maybe that has something to do with him, bouncing, so to speak, bouncing around.
He's a boss. They scared because he wants to. He just doesn't want his paycheck. I want to go deep in the finals. That's why he tends to bump his head with certain individuals, just like Jimmy Butler bumped his head with a whole bunch of people. When you get an individual on the team where the check is not enough, I'm actually here to do a job. They gonna bump head with people. Them dogs always do. So anywhere he goes, he runs the risk of bumping heads with people. It worked out so perfectly in Phoenix because they were ready as well. A lot of them kids been there for a little while. And CP3 was the guy that kind of pushed him over that hump. They needed an old head. CP3 probably showed even their 4, 5, 6 year vets how to be proper vets. This is how you eat. This is how you train. This is how you go home and don't go to the club and stay involved with your kids. Be a good husband to your, it's no telling the type of vibe he's giving those guys, grooming and maturing them. If he stays in Phoenix, if Phoenix is smart, the city need to cough up. Forget just the Suns. They need to cough up some money, keep that man in there so he can not only just shock the world this one time, and people call it the fluke because that's what people do. I think the Phoenix area, Lord have mercy, the Phoenix Suns have an opportunity to completely change the culture that they've had.
I agree.
If they keep him there, they can. Because nobody wants to go to Phoenix. They had CP3 the way they did. So it's interesting.
Let's move on to that last series. Utah won the first 2 at home. Clippers have been doing what they've been doing in the playoffs. They win when they get at home. So it's 2-2. I will say Paul George has shown up the last 2 games.
What?
But the difference has been Kawhi.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Kawhi has been dominant. But did y'all notice that he tweaked that right knee near the end of the game? Now, you can't say Kawhi all right, because remember, if Kawhi got something tweaked, Kawhi don't like playing.
Okay.
So that could be a problem.
I mean, look, Kawhi and Paul George, they won the game. The Clippers won the game. But it's not like they dominated Utah. Utah, I believe, lost the game themselves. And this is one of the games that I was totally disgusted with, because, like I said, out of the total shots, 55% of the total shots that Utah took were 3-pointers, and for the Clippers, 48% of their total shots were 3-pointers. Kawhi was 9 for 19 that game. Paul George was his shooting percentage was close to that. It's just bad basketball, man. Like I said, they won the game, but I believe Utah shot themselves in the foot by kept shooting 3-pointers.
Live by the shoot by the three, die by the three.
There you go.
Yep.
It's all analytics. If you can shoot 35% from 3, that's like shooting 55% from 2. Mm-hmm. Who shoots 55% from 2? Centers.
Well, no, not even centers.
And not even centers these days. But we do need to, give Kawhi his little props about what he did. Did y'all see this play?
Yes, sir.
Oh! Yikes!
Oh my goodness!
Yo, that wasn't nice what he did to that old vet. That wasn't nice.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna dunk on him, put your chest in the rim.
Yeah, that was ugly. Yeah, Kawhi's taking over, just like he took over the last series at the end. So if his knee can hold up and Paul George can show up, the key is Paul George got to show up once on the road for them to get this series. And if you've watched the games, and I spoke about this last week, Paul George will show up in the first half on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, Paul George get a little. You quit Paul that. If you look at the numbers, that's a great thing. Numbers can lie. If you look at the stat sheet, Paul had 24. Paul had 6 assists. He had 7 rebounds. He had a good game. Paul had 17 in the first half. He had 5 assists and 4 rebounds. Paul was a no-show in the third and fourth quarter. So,
but he shot 9-20. That's not a good game to me.
I feel you, but that's what they want him to shoot. Because if he doesn't shoot, then that means that brings everybody to Kawhi. And quite honestly, the Clippers really don't have a whole lot. Everybody says they're the deepest team. I hear that a lot. They got a lot of role players that only seem to play when they're at home. I mean, let's look at Marcus Morris. He goes 6 for 9 in LA. He go to Utah. He go 2 for 4, 2 for 7. So,
I think Utah needs to find somebody else to take some pressure off of Mitchell, because Mitchell, again, he was like 9 for 27 or 30, whatever it was. A ridiculous amount of shots. And Clarkson, the sixth man, he's always been a volume shooter. He's never really been a high percentage shooter. Although he did win a 6-man award this year, I have to give him his props. But they're the 2 main scorers on Utah's team. I mean,
they need Conley to run the show, just like Professor just pumped up there. Conley kept that ball flowing, so it wasn't all on Donovan. Mm-hmm. But he dealing with a hamstring. Another dude dealing with a hamstring. So, all right.
But he's playing though. But he's playing. He ain't stopping because of a injury. He's on the court.
Nah, he ain't playing.
Yeah, he missed a couple games. I didn't see it.
I'm talking about Donovan Mitchell. I'm talking about Donovan.
Yeah. Donovan got the hurt ankle. And he's been playing through. All right. So real quick, who y'all like to finish up this series? Y'all taking Clippers or Jazz so we can move on?
I think Utah gonna get smart. They're gonna figure it out.
The Claw, man, come on, stop playing. The Clippers.
We know we gotta get you out of here. We gotta get you out of here, Jay Will. So we're gonna get you out of here. Who you like? So you can jump and handle your business.
My heart says Utah, but I know if you get Kawhi in a closeout game, I trust him more than I trust any of those guys in Utah. So I'm gonna say Clippers.
Okay.
I like Utah in 7th. I think it's going to go home, and I think we're going to see playoff Pete show up in Game 7. And we'll just leave it at that. All right, man. Yo, Jay Wills, good
Thank
seeing you,
you,
brother. We appreciate you jumping in. Go handle your family duties. We'll see you. Be safe. Be safe traveling, and we'll holler at you in a week or two.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, love you.
Peace.
All right, fellas, let's talk a little UFC. I don't know if y'all got a chance to watch this weekend, but I got to say, the people who thought that Israel Adesanya was done, or because they saw him lose the match at 205 by a bigger, stronger guy who was able to keep him down on the mat, oh, they must have forgot. Because he put on a show. Master show, bobbing, weaving, hitting. He almost looked like a boxer. He jabbed, hit him with a 2-piece, stepped back. I was like, damn, that looked good. That looked good. And I mean, it was a total whitewash. He didn't finish it, but he also didn't want to take any risks. So Adesanya, easy victory over Marvin Vettori. He says he's thinking about maybe going back up to 205 in the future, but I hope he just stays at 185 and do his thing, because unless he's going to take a year off to add those 20 pounds, it just doesn't seem right.
Well, who's he going to go up to 205 and fight?
Rematch with the champion. He really wants to fight John Jones, but John Jones is he's going up to heavyweight. So
Adesanya can't. He don't want to fight Jones.
So we will see. Shout out to Brandon Moreno. This was also a rematch fight. He got an immediate rematch for the title, taking on Davison Figueroa. And Brandon Moreno, Mexico's first born and residing UFC fighter to win a UFC belt, dominated his fight in the co-main event. And in a scramble, ended up getting the back of Davison Figueroa and literally got that rear naked choke, cinched it in, and he had to do this. Get off me. Get off me. I'm done. So, I mean, that was a technical matchup, and that's one of those perfect examples of you get a second chance to fight the same guy, you make adjustments, the guy who won didn't, and the fight's easy. But the fight of the night, Brandon Riddle and Drew Dauber, they actually were the main event of the pre-fight schedule that was on ESPN. If you just want to see two dudes stand in the ring and punch each other in the face and see who gonna fall first, do yourself a favor. YouTube Riddle versus Dauber, UFC 263. It was crazy how much punishment these two good guys take. Neither one of them a championship material, but it was definitely interesting. If you like to see carnage, it was a good fight to watch. And last but not least, my boy Leon Edwards. He was fighting the crowd favorite, Mr. Nate Diaz, Stockton's own, Mr. Cool. Everybody loves him because he just one of them old school. If he wasn't fighting in the UFC, you see Nate Diaz fighting in backyard street ball fights. That's the kind of guy he is. He beat this man for 4 rounds, 4 minutes, and in the last minute, he got a little relaxed and got caught with a 1-2 and had to run, hold, and survive in order to get out of that fight alive. So, again, great fight. I do have to tell y'all, though, I was scared. Fighters walking down, touching people's hands, walking into the ring. packed arena,
Mm.
no mask to be found anywhere. I still ain't comfortable with it. Oh yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Eric Anders, former University of Alabama starting defensive end football player. He beat Darren Stewart, who is a top 10 ranked middleweight, but they were fighting at light heavyweight. Good job. And also, wasn't on the UFC card, but shout out to Clarissa Shields. The boxing queen made her first MMA debut on Professional Fighting League, PFL, Thursday. And she was fighting a young lady who'd been practicing jiu-jitsu for 13 years and been a professional fighter for like 6. And she did what she was supposed to do. Grabbed her, put her down to the ground. She held on the ground for most of the first round and a good percentage of the second round. Third round, they told Clarissa, you got to knock her out to win. And she went out there, tried to knock her out, and the young lady tried to grab the leg. She pushed her head down and then just started wailing with her right hand. She's like, I am not letting you take me there. They had to stop the fight. Her corner, you can hear her corner telling her, let her up, you got her. Don't go down. She's like, I'm going, you gonna pay for this. She's trying to embarrass me on national TV. So, I mean, it was a good night, but I can't wait for the next UFC. The next big UFC is July, and we got the rematch with your boy Conor McGregor. I think it'll be his last fight in the UFC. So
he just won't let it go, will he?
Won't let it go.
He making too much money, man. Even though he made $200 million selling that whiskey, but it ain't enough for him. Y'all have anything to add about UFC? I know you was busy over the weekend, Ed, getting prepared to do what you need to do. So, all right, let's move on. NHL, New York Islanders. People say coaching doesn't really matter in professional sports. That's a perfect example. The Capitals didn't want to pay that man $500,000 more a year. That's all it would have taken to keep him in Washington after winning the Cup. And now he's with the Islanders. He's taken them to the playoffs every year, and they beat the Bruins 4-2, won Game 6 easy. They take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, who beat the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1, and then New York Islanders win Game 1. It was 2-1, but it wasn't even that close. It was 2-0 with like a minute left in the third period. Islanders dominated the game. They're trapping in the neutral zone, making it real hard for the Lightning wings to get loose. And, man, Trotz is doing his thing. And their goalie's playing great defense. Who happens to be a former Capital?
Yeah, but don't sleep on Tampa Bay. Don't sleep on Tampa Bay. Don't think they're just gonna lie down and let the Islanders win this series. Tampa Bay gonna come back. Watch what I tell you.
I agree. They defend the champions. You never count out a champion. Never count out a champion. But, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's just game 1. In hockey, all you need is your goalie to get hot and you got a shot.
Yep.
Let's go ahead, Ed.
No, that's it. Goalie. The next series will tell you that.
Yes, sir. The Vegas Golden Knights. 4 straight. Four straight against Colorado, man.
I cannot believe this.
I thought you wanted Vegas to win, Ed.
No.
He was calling Colorado. I called Vegas.
I said Colorado because they were playing games. They were playing games with Fleury. The Vegas game. Vegas wasn't playing Fleury exclusively. Since he's been playing exclusively, they've turned the series around. But I honestly thought Colorado was going to win regardless. I admit that.
And then they come back And I mean, they get game one. Vegas is hot. And another arena packed. Have y'all seen the crowds in Las Vegas for the hockey? Yep. I mean, they going crazy. That atmosphere is unbelievable. And at least the players are protected by glass there. But I mean, that joint is going. I wouldn't want to play in that arena at all.
I wouldn't want to go sit in that arena. Better yet, play in it.
So they take game one with Montreal. Again, I like Vegas. I think Vegas is going to knock off Montreal. I give Canadians because they are a legacy franchise. I'll give them maybe 2. I think Vegas is going to win this 4-2. They might do a gentleman's sweep 4-1, but I like Vegas coming out of this. As I told you before, I thought the winner of the Vegas-Colorado matchup is going to end up winning the cup, and we will see. But Trotz and the Islanders.
Don't sleep on Tampa Bay.
Okay. You think Vegas can take out Montreal?
Oh, I got to go with Vegas now because they eliminated who I thought was going to win. I have no choice. Yeah. But I like I said, I like the goalie for Vegas. I mean, I have a history with him. So, I mean,
Marc-Andre Fleury is a bad man.
Yeah, I'm a roll with Vegas. I mean, I don't have a choice. They eliminated the Avalanche, so I'll go with Vegas.
Hey. So for you puckheads like myself, keep tuning. We got 2 great series, hopefully, and then we get to play for the cup, which is the greatest sports trophy I think I've seen. Just the reverence that they give to that cup, and nobody wants to touch it before they actually win it. And so I love that. All right, it's time to switch up to the sweet science. Your boy Shakur Stevenson put on a show last weekend. He was fighting out in Vegas. He's fighting Jeremiah Near-Kilter. Near-Kilter basically had one punch, a right hook that he was trying to wind up all night. And Shakur tried to, step to him a couple of times, tried to get him out of there. But he got caught twice. And you know what? He said, I am not going to do what Devin Haney did 2 weeks ago when he was beating the man down, dominating the fight, and tried to get cute and tried to knock a guy out and almost got knocked out himself. I'm smarter than that. So I'm going to go ahead and, outbox you and win every round. So Shakur Stevenson, easy 120-107 victory. But I think the big thing about this fight, which is nice that I want to get y'all's point about, is this victory sets up a matchup for Shakur to win the 130-pound junior lightweight championship. The issue is one champ is Jamel Herring. That's actually his stablemate. Both of them train in Terrence Crawford's boxing gym. And they boys. The other champ, Oscar Valdez, who Shakur has been calling for, who's also on Top Rank, but it seems like Top Rank doesn't want them two to fight right away.
It's all about that cheddar.
Top Rank is trying to force Stevenson to fight Herring later this year, and then the winner of that to fight Valdez. So I think that's kind of foul. You're going to make two friends fight when he's obviously calling out the other champion. What's your thoughts on that?
It's just a money move. It's a money move.
I mean, it is a money move, but that's what's wrong with boxing, man. There's nobody's good. There's no unified governing body, or there's no alliances or allegiances or anything like that. It's just like the Wild West, you know. And it is political. Every fight is political. You know, it's tiring. You never see the fights you want to see. It's and you have to literally go to court. Like the other day, I was seeing Wilder and Fury weighing in. Didn't say 2 words to one another, and I'm like, okay, they had to literally go to court to get that fight, and they had a clause, and they had a rematch clause. So boxing is great. I actually like boxing, more than the UFC, but you never see the fights that you want to see in boxing. You never.
It's all about that money, bro. They want to control who gonna fight who and who gonna get the money. That's what that's all about.
And then people get mad at Floyd when Floyd took things into his own hands instead of letting the promoter control them. And that's what I like about Devin Haney. Devin Haney promotes his own fights.
But see,
he's under the Devin Haney promotion. But the problem with that is when it's time for him to fight the big fights,
right,
he's got to deal with the other promotion company, and are they going to be willing to deal with him? Which is, again, why UFC has grown so much and boxing has been slowly declining, especially since Floyd.
And don't forget, Floyd was an outlier. He did his own thing. He did his own thing and was still able to make money. But a lot of times boxers, when they go that route, they lose millions because they're either shut out or they just don't, or they just can't get the fights that, that generate that type of money by doing their own promotions. So it's like you danged if you do, you danged if you don't. But like I said, Floyd, for whatever reason, he was able to work the system in his favor. But that doesn't always happen in boxing. That was rare.
You got to be the elite of the elite to make that happen. And I think Shakur Stevenson is that type of cat where I think if he puts pressure on Top Rank and says, no, I'm not going to fight Herring. I want Valdez, and I want you to make it happen. I think he could put the pressure on Valdez on Top Rank to make that fight happen. Because Top Rank put the squeeze on Jamel Herring and told Jamel Herring, with the boxing sanction, I think he has the WBO belt. The WBO said, oh, you got to fight the winner of the Stevenson-Nakia fight, or we're going to strip you of your belt. And I'm sure Top Rank was behind that, because if Top Rank ain't wanted to happen, it wouldn't happen. So it's just the same. But we will see. For you fight fans, this Saturday, you got a monster setup. It was supposed to be 4 fight cards, and we'll get into one that dropped off. But we still got 3 legitimate fight cards happening this week, Saturday, June 19th. And for you exhibition fans out there who like to see the old heads, there's even one of those out there for you. And just about the exhibitions, I just got to point out, money's still making money. They're estimating he's going to, after that pay-per-view with Jake Paul, they got 1 million buys, the highest fight. That's 200,000 more buys than Fury Wilder 2 got. 200,000 more buys at $50 a pop than the heavyweight championship rematch got.
Well, that's WWE is popular, so that doesn't surprise me.
Your boy Floyd got 10 million to show up, just to show up. He's bragging that he sold $30 million in endorsements. I know Floyd gets a little extravagant, so let's cut that in half. Let's just say 15. But he got 50% of the pay-per-view money.
Wow.
And it ain't hard to do that math.
Wow.
$50, $1 million, that's $50 million. Chop that in half. So he got 25 million from pay-per-view, 10 million to show up. And if he was lying and cut it in half, Floyd made $50 million to fight a bum. That ain't even a real boxer.
Amazing.
Only in America.
Yep.
So let's talk about this Saturday's fight card. For you boxing fans, and I am one, and I will tell you, I'm going to be home watching boxing. My wife and daughter are going to be out of town, so I'm going to be glued to the sets. ESPN, regular ESPN. You got Ninoy Inoue, a.k.a. the Little Monster. He's going to put his 118-pound IBF and WBA titles on the line against Michael Desmarnes. But also on that card, America's own Michaela Meyer puts her 130-pound junior lightweight title on the line against Erica Ferris. So you've got 2 title bouts on ESPN, regular TV. I think they kick off at 10. Great fights. If you can't watch them live, hit them on DVR. We were supposed to have Teofimo Lopez on Triller pay-per-view this weekend, but unfortunately, Teofimo was in Las Vegas watching the Shakur Stevenson fight when his fight was happening in Miami, flew back to Miami, got tested, and we're still in the pandemic, folks. What you doing? You just messed up a whole bunch of money. So that fight card has been pushed. They say it's supposed to happen on August 14th, but they say Teo is symptomatic. And as we've seen, not everybody that actually develops symptoms from COVID recover right away. There's some things out there called long haulers, so this fight may never happen. So we will see. Speedy recover, wish him nothing but the best. But if you got a fight in a week, you supposed to be in camp, stay you behind where you supposed to be. It's just stupid. Just stupid. Showtime. The older brother by 7 minutes? Jamal Charlo puts his 160-pound WBC middleweight title on the line against Juan Marcos Montiel. And Montiel been talking mad trash about what he gonna do to Charlo. And them Charlo boys ain't nothing to be messed with. So I'm looking forward to this. I might watch that one live. Take the ESPN one because that should be real interesting. I saw Showtime used to do the pre-fight cut-ups with Floyd and all that. They did a little bit on Charlo. Charlo built a 10,000 square foot boxing training facility in his backyard. So he literally walks out of his house, his mansion, walks past the pool, and walks into his training facility. It's crazy. Only in Texas, I guess you can do that kind of stuff because things ain't as expensive in Texas as they are up here. But will probably be 30, 40 million up these parts. He probably paid 5 to 6 million for that, but it's cool setup. And then on the Zone's got another female, former U.S. Olympian Marlon Esparza is getting her first title shot against Ibeth Zamora, putting on her 112-pound WBC flyweight title, and Jaime Mwinga is fighting the middleweight belt. So it's a couple of good fights on. And then if you really want to get into the muck, your boy Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is fighting Anderson Silva.
He just retired.
43-year-old MMA superstar. And that ain't even the worst of it.
Crying for attention. That's
His
all
dad.
that is.
Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.
Like, why are these people doing? Why are they doing these
Camacho Jr.
exhibitions? Like, I don't understand why these people. Everybody wants to do exhibition. It was Tyson. Tyson kicked it off. Then you had these the Paul dudes
Missing the limelight. They missing the limelight.
They missing the limelight. They missing them checks. Didn't I just tell you that Floyd made at least $50 million?
Yeah, but they ain't Floyd.
Mike Tyson made $25 million for his exhibition, and Roy made like 15.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
They looking at the Paul boys. Jake Paul, who fought Floyd, he made 10. He's got a losing record in boxing, and his brother Jake, his last fight, I think Jake made like 30. They're like, these guys ain't even fighters.
But they're like flavor of the months. I mean, they're celebrities, so to speak. They're like social media stars. You know. Nobody wants to see Julio Cesar Chavez fight. I don't.
Yeah,
Got
neither
them
do
lights
I.
up. They got them lights up.
But if they can, just think about it, if they get 300,000 buys, and they can get that in Mexico.
Oh well, yeah.
With their names at $30 a pop. That's like, everybody can come away with a couple of $1 million, and they shouldn't be making a dime. Mm-hmm. It's making a mockery out of boxing to me, but some people, like it.
Obviously.
Coming up next week in a big fight, I hope everybody makes it to the bout. Mario Barrios, the 140-pound WBA title, junior welterweight title holder, putting his belt on the line against Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank is going up. His last fight was at 130, even though he's probably more legitimate at 135. He's bouncing up to 140 to try to win his junior welterweight championship belt. And they talking mad trash. Barrios said, boy, you made a mistake coming up here. You too small. You too slow.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
So June is going in with a bang. And then July, you got a bunch of fights coming in, including round 3 of the heavyweight mess. So, hey, gotta love boxing. Next month, we are going to do a special boxing show. I'm going to get my boy Queensbury Tony on with me. And so anybody else wants to jump in, we're going to talk boxing to get ready for July and August. Because, in August, you got the senator, soon to be president, getting his last payday, because I think he done bumped his head when he decided to fight who he going to fight. So, gotta love boxing. All right, a couple other things that caught our attention over the weekend. We got to give a shout out to Novak Djokovic. He won the second French Open, came back from 2 sets down for the second match in 3 matches, allowing him to win his second Grand Slam. That's all 4 majors twice, and his 19th major. He's only 1 major behind what everybody would think is the greats of the greats, Roger and Rafa. Hey, do we have to start possibly saying that Roger and Rafa aren't the greatest? Maybe they the greatest. Rafa's obviously the greatest clay courter of all time. Period. He's won 13 French Open titles. Roger's won 8 Wimbledons. He's probably the greatest grass court player of all time. But he's also won 6 Australian, 5 U.S. Open. His problem was the clay. Now Novak's done something that neither one of them done.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the GOAT?
I don't know if he's the GOAT, but he's up there with him.
Right.
There's room. Everyone, it's okay to have more than one,
I feel you.
Everyone can't be the GOAT. Like, it's okay to share the spotlight. Everybody can't be. Even Tiger shares it with Jack.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, so I'm saying. So it's okay. It's okay. Obviously, Djokovic. He's in that category. He's in that conversation. He beat Rafi on his way to the title.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he beat him in France. So that's saying something.
All records are made to be broken. So at any given day, keep that.
And they're
in
all
mind.
the same age. They're all relatively, 1 or 2, maybe 3 years apart. So
yeah, Djokovic is actually the youngest of them. So he's theoretically got more in the tank. And he's the odds-on favorite to win Wimbledon again this year. If he wins Wimbledon, he got a chance to actually get the legit Grand Slam, because he's been winning the U.S. Open multiple times. So, also got a shout out Barbara Krejcik. She did something that hasn't been done since 2000. She won the women's single as an unseeded player, and then backed that up the following day, winning the women's doubles championship, which was her 4th Grand Slam doubles title. She is the #1 doubles player in the world, just regaining that with the win. But That's a heavy load. You don't see too many players, top level players, playing singles and double still. So shout out.
That's in Serena.
Yeah, and it's been a while. I think the last person to do the double was Mary Pierce, and she also did it at the French Open. For you fans of Olympic sports, starting this week, the U.S. swimming trials are on NBC, primetime, finals. The track and field start this weekend. We're going to get geared up. The Olympics is supposed to happen next month, third week in July. The people who are the organizers saying it's happening, period. There's some people that's running the country that's saying, I don't know, but I think it's too late to pull the plug when you got all these countries get ready to ship their athletes to Japan. So what'd you say? Ain't no way, huh, J3?
There's no way. There's no way I would go to Japan.
I wouldn't do it. I mean,
no.
As much as I as a person like to compete, it's just too much of a risk.
Shoot, the citizens don't want the athletes there. They're like, you're gonna bring how many thousands of people here from all over the world?
And Tokyo is the largest by population. It's the largest city in the world. So you're already dealing with like 45 million people on top of people coming in from all around the world. Who knows if they got vaccinated? Now, maybe they may have a requirement that all athletes need to be vaccinated. But then you got people that getting vaccines from, they getting China vaccines, they getting, Russian vaccines. Right. Everybody ain't getting the same, quality or type of vaccine. Nah. Nope.
Yeah.
I pass.
And lastly, college football committee recommends to the college football board that the college football playoffs should be expanded from 4 to 12. That's a whole nother show that we're going to get into later on in the summer. But what's your favorite saying, J3? When they try to change something, what's it about?
It's all about that money, bro.
So we were getting to that, but that was just last year. These same people said that the college football playoff wasn't changing for the term of the contract, which still has, I think, 5 or 6 more years left on it. Now, all of a sudden, they want to go from 4 to 12. Wow.
Waste of time.
Wow. Well, usually this time we would get our post takes, but we will look forward to that next week with the professor if he has time to, get back with us. It's going to be real interesting to see his takes on the college football playoff expansion when we get there. But they're talking about making more money than the NCAA basketball tournament with this expansion in football. It's crazy. All right, fellas. It's been a good show. I probably talked more than I should have this week. Didn't give y'all ample opportunity to share your positions, but it's time for us to get out of here. So let's get to our final post. J3, what you got for us?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Simone Biles. She did a interview on 60 Minutes this past Sunday, expressing the situation and how she feels not only about the sport and the Olympics, but also about the incident that took place as a athlete with the doctor that she had to deal with. And so I applaud her being honest and candor and expressing how she feels. How the Olympics are not actually doing everything that they can to stop this from happening to other athletes. So shout out to Simone Biles.
Good take. Ed, what you got for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch up my final post. I want everybody to stay safe and do what you got to do to protect yourselves and your family. But this comes from one of our listeners. BJ asked about Le'Veon Bell being a potential backup to Najee Harris in Pittsburgh. We don't need those type problems. He had an opportunity. Le'Veon Bell had an opportunity to play in Pittsburgh, and he chose to sit out a year for nothing. Ever since he's come back, he's been nothing but trash. As a player, he throws his coaches under the bus. We don't need that type of problem. We don't need that type of problem in Pittsburgh. We already have enough problems to deal with, namely talent along the offensive line. We don't need any more problems, and an aging quarterback. So a hard no to Bell making a triumphant return to Pittsburgh. Nobody in Pittsburgh wants him, or else he had been signed by now. So there you go, BJ.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. I think Le'Veon might have talked himself out of the NFL with his comments this past week that he tweeted about he would never play for one of the most likable coaches there is in the NFL, Andy Reid. And then when people went in at him, he said, you can't say what that man said to me. So makes it seem like Andy Reid said something to him that may have been racial or something. But I ain't never heard anything like that about Andy Reid.
Andy Reid gave Michael Vick an opportunity to play following prison. Michael Vick got sent to prison for dog fighting. Dogs are humans in this country. And he gave that man an opportunity when no one else in the league would. Andy Reid, I don't know. I'm sure he has flaws. We all do. But one thing you can't attack that man's character, because he's given black quarterbacks opportunity after opportunity and not shy about it. He prefers black quarterbacks.
Right.
Look at his record. So you attack Andy Reid for what? And Le'Veon, he done lost reality.
Yeah, so I hope he saved his money, because I think he's done with the NFL. Nobody want them headaches. I'd just like to give a shout out real quick. Katie Ledecky, Bethesda's own, making her second or third U.S. Olympic team, smoking everybody in the 400. But more importantly, Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps has been at the swim trials this week with his beautiful family. But what he's doing to promote athletes' mental health specifically, but mental health in general for all, is phenomenal, considering all the things he went through post-Olympics and post-retirement, to see where he's taken his passion and put it in a positive place. Shout out. And if more people start listening to these athletes, we wouldn't have had these issues like the French Open with Naomi Osaka, who had the nerve after they tried to clean it up to say, well, we did what was right. We had to, set the example and standard. We tried to, communicate with Naomi, but they wouldn't communicate with us the way we wanted to. So it was right for us to get all of the Grand Slams together and, make our statement. But we're sorry she's having emotional issues. I hope she gets well soon so she can come back and play for us and make us all money. Come on now. People need to, these athletes continue taking the position that you are the product and you have control. And if something isn't right, speak up. You won't lose all the money that the athletes used to do. All right, folks, I'm going to get off my soapbox with that. As always, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We greatly, greatly appreciate the opportunity you give us each and every week to share our positions on sports with you. Each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m., you may see 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. We love doing the show. It is a passion project for us. If you have suggestions, if you have opinions, by all means, you can drop your comments during the live show or shoot us an email. Hit us up on social media, Positions on Sports Talk Show, our Facebook page, our YouTube page. You can hit us up on Instagram at Positions on SPO1. Leave us a message. We'd love to hear from you. We're always trying to get bigger and better and give you the content that you want to hear. And if you can't listen to us live, or some people that might be interested in the show but can't catch us on Tuesdays live, hey, let them know. If they listen to podcasts, they can listen to the show. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, all the podcast platforms. Just have them search Positions on Sports Talk Show, and we're there. Each and every week, we love it. We appreciate you. We'll see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Peace.
See ya.